They called him a saint. They pretended he was a god. Now the media is being called out for their lies and cover-ups when it comes to Dr. Anthony Fauci. Today, we are going to share with you a video from long ago. Anthony Fauci from the 90s. It is some of the most vile, offensive, and deeply disturbing stuff you've ever seen. And now you'll see why it's so obscene. The media tried to lift this man up on a pedestal he never deserved. It's a fantastic day, ladies and gentlemen, to be alive. The best day ever, some might say. And all we ask is that you click that like button as we endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, and in this case, point out just how deeply depraved the mainstream, lamestream, going extinct dinosaur media has always been. Well, TMZ is having a heck of a time right now explaining the difference in their reaction to Charlie Kirk being deleted and Anthony Fauci. Folks, you just don't hate the media enough. We'll explain why, and get ready, get set, because by the end of this, don't go anywhere. When I show you an uncovered video from Anthony Fauci from the 90s, it is going to make your blood boil. Here we go. Here's TMZ on the different reaction. Left side is going to be when they find out that Charlie Kirk's life has ended. The right side is going to be when they find out that Anthony Fauci has been caught lying with his journals, diaries, and Congress is unhappy about it.
Janet, go to have somebody look at the Fox. Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
All right, so hear the cheers. One more time. Let's just let it. Just hear them.
Go to.
One more time. Skip it ahead.
I had many friends who died of AIDS, a horrible, painful death. And I had friends who lived because of Anthony Fauci.
Pause. You see, the left side is deleting of Charlie Kirk and the cheers that come out in TMZ. The right side is the same guy, Mr. Harvey himself. Not that Harvey, different Harvey. This is new Harvey, who, by the way, is apparently taking his prescription meds with Cholula, which, well, that'll put hair on your chest if you survive. But he's crying because he says that Anthony Fauci saved people who had AIDS back in the day. Okay, back in the day, Anthony Fauci was saving people who had AIDS, his friends, and so he's out there to defend Anthony Fauci and say, how dare you put him in Congress and put him under oath, and how dare you not like him? Well, just get ready, because I made promises and I mean to keep them. This is from ABC News from a long time ago. This is Anthony Fauci with darker hair. This is Anthony Fauci, a younger man. And one of the first things he worked on was the outbreak of AIDS. I want you to listen to what Anthony Fauci was actually saying about AIDS back in the day, because I want you to hear how much damage this man did to people who had AIDS and everybody in society who suddenly acted like they had leprosy because of this man. This man, I'm telling you, there is something dark and sinister in this man that the media has covered up for.
Say from the disease, this brings in the implications that there are other ways, just plain close contact. And given the long incubation period of this disease, we may be starting to see, as we're seeing virtually as the months go by, other groups that can be involved. And seeing it in children is really quite disturbing.
When you say other close contact, give me some examples.
Well, for example, if the close contact of a child is a household contact, perhaps there will be a certain number of cases of individuals who are just living with and in close contact with someone with AIDS or at risk of AIDS, who does not necessarily have to have intimate sexual contact or share a needle, but just the ordinary close contact that one sees in normal interpersonal relationships. Now, let's
just pause there for a minute and just soak that in, that this is a man who spread the lie. I mean, I don't know how we did this for decades. This is the sinister man who spread for decades that AIDS could be passed just by passing by someone with AIDS. This guy is the reason that people who had AIDS, some of them for engaging in certain activities, some at the time, because, there was a medical procedure, nobody knew about AIDS, there were transfusions happening, and so people got AIDS innocently, totally innocently. We're not engaged in any kind of promiscuity. This is a guy who was telling you, don't go near them. Don't let your kids go near them. They'll get AIDS too. He's been doing this for decades. And Harvey and the rest of the media have been covering up for him while they celebrate the deaths of good people who tried to tell the truth. Panel, anybody, whoever wants to go with this one, have at it. I've got more stuff to play on this, but the media, this has been decades of total corruption. And I think there are lives and people's psyches, people's like that their souls have been damaged by the media protecting this man.
Yeah, this is one of those instances where he was the most trusted scientific bureaucrat in the entire world. And it seems like all of the trust that was given to him was incorrect, because he's either incompetent or maybe he's got some kind of bad motives. Maybe I just get this crazy idea that maybe he is so arrogant that he thinks he knows what's best for billions of people, and that he's more interested in having some posters of himself on the wall, getting his name out there in the papers. And I can't say anything else under advice of counsel.
I think he's a sociopath.
My Fifth Amendment rights or something like that.
I think he's a sociopath. I think he actually lacks the ability to care about other humans. They're just.
I would take it one step further and call him a megalomaniac.
Could be.
I think this is the kind of guy, if he were in a global leadership position, would cause extreme harm to many more than he already has in the course of his career.
Nat, I'm going to tell you about a study, because and we're doing this from the lens of media. Okay, like I don't want to get into the politics of it. I just want to say what a corrupt media worldwide we have had. This guy was celebrated as a saint. As a saint. Like, this was the man that he was beyond reproach. If you dared say anything about him, you too were evil. This guy, Nat, and they knew this. This guy ran a test. And the test was they put little puppy beagles and they tied them up where they couldn't move, and they let the beagles be eaten, their faces be eaten by insects. And because the cries of the puppies were too loud for the researchers, because it tormented them, they removed their vocal cords to solve that problem. I don't have an ability to say how evil the media has become. And I think this is example number one of where the media is.
And also the crazy part is, well, number one, as you were mentioning, he was essentially sainted. They had prayer candles with his face on it, which is insane to me. But also the parallels that we saw already between the AIDS crisis and epidemic and how he was handling it, and also at the beginning and during the jibby jab era, as we call it, all the parallels that were showing up anyways. And a lot of people were saying, well, don't look there, and that's not true, and that never happened. But a lot of people, even within the community that remembered, the few that did survive after the epidemic, came out to say this is an evil man, and they were also not listened to. They were told to shut up. And
he rose to the top, put his wife in charge of things so that it was very difficult to remove him. And we see what happens. There is a consequence to putting incompetence and worse in charge of things. All right, let's continue on here because this is what the media doesn't want to tell you now. Media does not want to report this. You have to go to places like X, over to news to get this stuff. RFK Jr. reveals the single most disturbing thing he discovered in Anthony Fauci's diaries. Says this is peak hypocrisy, know where they put it. What he's going to talk about, we're going to play the video out of Fox News. Anthony Fauci took the jab. Anthony Fauci told everybody the jab was safe. I'm not going to weigh in on whether it is or not. Folks, you've already made up your mind. I'm not moving you. That's okay. We're past that. But what is true, what is important to know, is that one of the criticisms of the jab was that it could cause cardiological events. Dr. Fauci, who I am hesitant to now say doctor, he had one of those cardiological events. And Dr. Fauci lied to the American people and didn't tell them that after receiving the jab that he had an adverse reaction. He refused to tell it. He told the opposite. Here's the video from Fox News covering RFK.
That was new to me in his diary was his admission that he got pulmonary infarction in July of 2021 after receiving the vaccine. So he took the Moderna vaccine on national TV, telling in a very, very highly publicized press conference to show people that was safe. Then he got one of the primary, most expected adverse events, which was potentially deadly blood clots in his lung, myocardial infarction. He kept that secret from the American public, and we only learned about it because of his diary. He was getting the best medical treatment that is available to anybody in the world at Walter Reed and all these other centers. There were doctors fawning over him. Meanwhile, he was telling other people to take this product and concealing the fact that he himself, after announcing this press conference to show it was safe, had actually gotten very, very sick from an injury that was highly expected and highly likely to be caused by the vaccine.
Could have killed him, but he's got the greatest doctors. Did you and your family members? And if you had reactions like he knew people were having because he had it, you were told to shut up. Okay, so total failure of the media, and we may, it can damage the channel for us to cover this still, and that's okay, because we have to talk about this. We have to talk about just what a failure the media has been. And when we talk about the dinosaur going extinct media, the reason we take joy in their extinction is because they need to go extinct, because they allowed this to happen. They allowed this. They turned this man into a god, and he is anything but. Rather than trying to solve the disease, he was lying about the disease. Rather than spending every waking hour trying to figure out how to save the lives of people in nursing homes, he was fawning over which celebrity had just contacted him. We've already covered that. We won't retread it again. Culture, this is I think the final indictment, and anybody who doesn't understand it anymore, is probably beyond us being able to reach out and get them. They're not going to come out of the bubble and wake up. They're in the old media matrix, and we're not going to be able to get them out of there. But I think the majority has woken up. Your thoughts on whether the majority has figured out the media is totally corrupt?
Well, I think that's true. I think we've been looking at a corrupt media for a long period of time, whether it be CNN, which, obviously they're trying to retain through an ownership exchange, by delaying it. But, everything that's being driven right now in the news cycle has some element to do with politics. And unfortunately, it's crossed over into news. So you have incredibly slanted news outlets, and it doesn't matter what country you're in. You could be in Canada. You could be in the UK. You could be, in any one of these other countries that has state-funded media. And then you have NPR, which we're trying to, eliminate here in this country. But regardless, the problem is even the corporate media is corrupted, and you cannot take what they say as well a fact. And we're constantly fact checking our news sources, including, obviously, you highlight this ABC News, video from way back when. But these things don't occur in a vacuum. People are now more aware, and we're able to share that information via free speech on platforms like X. And I think that if it weren't for Elon right now, we'd be living in a darkness without candles. That, like I said, Elon may have preserved the last candle in a wild darkness. So,
final question for the panel. Anybody who wants it can have at it. Everybody can have at it. I find the level of corruption is so mind-boggling to me, because the same media that today would tell you that it was evil to shun people who had AIDS and stay away from them and treat them the way that they were treated. The same media that would tell you that was done by rednecks and ignorant flyover country folks. No, it was Anthony Fauci, literally speaking from a position of authority, telling people, keep your kids away from the people with AIDS. Oh, your grandparent needed transfusion, and at a time when we didn't know what was going on, was given blood that had AIDS in it. Now your grandmother has AIDS. Keep the kids away from her. Anthony Fauci. The level of inconsistency, incongruity with the way the media has thought, it is just power. It is just power for them.
What's also insane is that it's this same media that continues to push and to obviously spread a narrative about the current administration. And when I was talking about this with people that I might disagree politically with mostly on, but still friends, we were debating this issue, and they were saying, yes, but it's the current administration that is bringing all this information up. So how trustworthy is it? So the cognitive dissonance that has been put into people, not just regarding this, but everything, and the trust some people still place on the media and still refuse to see, partly probably because of the sunken cost of the decisions they took because of the media. Well, now, thanks to the cognitive dissonance, they kind of have to continue to go along with it and still not believe what is now right before their eyes, which I think is maybe even more of a damage to a lot of people within society that still go along with it because they've been told to.
This is a great point. Because we're living in a time right now where Trump could come out and say, don't put a paperclip in the electrical outlet. And there would be half the country sticking paper clips in the electrical outlet, some of them videoing, be like, I'm not getting shocked.
I mean, we've seen the videos of pregnant
Tylenol.
Women taking large amounts of Tylenol.
Not that we would recommend such a thing.
No, I absolutely would not recommend that to a pregnant woman.
Mass formation psychosis. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to say that we have seen in our lifetime people completely lose all relationship with logic in order to hold on to some sort of quasi-religious belief system propagated by the media. And what we should do with that then is recognize that this is part of the human psyche and that we're not immune to it either, right? We're all pretty darn similar. So this is the story of Star Wars too, right? The darkness resides inside you. So we need to recognize this is a thing that can happen and we need to defend against it. The best defense against it is to never let the media be a monolith again. Never, ever, ever. We must have disagreement. We must have conflict online. It's crazy to say, but free speech being offensive actually really matters. We must have offense. We must be able to get on each other's nerves and hold different opinions. And some of us are going to be terribly wrong. And that is necessary to stop a much greater evil that we've just seen. Culture, did you want the final word on that?
No, I'm just, my take's going to be the one that you've always heard, which is we live in an era of postmodern neo-Marxists who are only using control and coercion as the tools to overthrow our modern culture.
Power, baby, power. When you stick around for the entire video, it really does help the channel. And we're so appreciative of that, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that you would stick around and hear everything we have to say. The studio is glistening because you're listening each and every day. If you're not yet subscribed, well, you should be. And click that like button. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.